So before I even show off my custom Gunpla here, I just want to make a few things clear. This is kind of a more special video to me. It's not really something where I'm going to be showing off the custom going, oh, look at how impressive it is. Isn't it perfect and great? I'm not a professional Gunpla customizer. In fact, I'm actually more of a straight builder. This is my straight built HG GOUF, and this is my pretty much straight built MG Zaku 2. I'm more of a straight builder. I'm more of an action figure collector, and I collect the Gundam models to have the mobile suit and the character in my collection. I do a little bit of painting here and there if I want to, but I'm normally not a Gunpla customizer. However, let me just kind of talk about the backstory with this kit, and I'm not gonna take long until I show it to you. So I usually build HGs. I don't really build MGs, but I like MGs for the details and for the size and for how nice they feel in pose. My brother and I bought MSIA Gundam figures growing up, and his absolute childhood favorite was this one, the Mobile Suit in Action Desert GOUF. Of course, there was not a Gunpla of the Desert GOUF. In fact, it pretty much only exists toy-wise as this MSIA figure. And my brother was saying, oh, maybe if they make a model kit of that one day, I'll get it. Well, the thing is, I doubt they're ever going to make it, so I wanted to make it for him. And I thought, should I make it in HG? Because it kind of fits in with some of the HGs he has. And then I thought, you know what? He also really loves the Gundam Battle Scarred line from MSIA. The guys that are really messed up, and they've got a lot of battle damage and weathering. So I figured it would probably be better if I make it an MG. So it's kind of like the standout piece of his very small Gundam collection, because he has some childhood MSIAs, a few model kits, and now he will have a very nice master grade. So what I was thinking, like, how should I go about doing this? Because this is his birthday present. I'm filming this a little under a week from the time he's going to get it. And this will probably be the very last time I personally pose around and mess with this custom Gunpla I made. Because it's going to go in a box, it's going to be wrapped up, and it's going to be his birthday present. And this video is going to be released long after he's already received it. So, I got the Master Grade GOUF. And it was a very fun build. It was a very, very fun build. Here's the box here. I love the box art. I'll probably give him the box just in case he wants to use it, but I'm probably going to present it to him a little differently. But yeah, here's the box here. I still have all the runners and everything in it. I did use the runners to test paint. And before I even go into that, I want to show, here's all the extra pieces. There's a lot of Zaku 2.0 frame parts in here, some extra blue pieces that I just didn't feel the need to paint. I didn't bother painting the Ramba Rawl or his girly friend, which is right there, you can see her legs. I didn't bother painting them because it really wasn't relevant to the custom Gunpla I made here. And there's also the hand. I decided not to paint the hand because he's never going to want to use it, because his MSIA had the gun hand. So, with all that, I've been talking long enough. Here is my custom battle-scarred Desert GOUF Master Grade. So, it's my first big endeavor into custom Gunpla. And, like I said, it's not perfect. There's going to be some issues. There might be, a little bit of imperfection here and there. Some of my methods are definitely not what is recommended in the model industry. And I will talk about kind of how I made this. And you may even see a little bit of blue poking out here and there, or maybe there's a paint scuff I didn't notice. I've gone over this multiple times with a magnifying glass, fine-tooth comb, to make sure any little bit of blue that you would see should be covered up. He's been top-coated twice. He is done and done. I hope there's no issue with paint chipping or weathering on this guy when it gets to my brother and he's going to want to pose him around. I tried to sand some things down where there might be some paint wear, so hopefully he won't have a problem. So let's talk about the accessories first. So he has his heat rod, which I just did very basic dry brushing to. It's just some dry brushing. I didn't feel like painting that a different color or anything. It just has some sand color, some dark gray for kind of weathering. It's pretty basic. And it's also a really nice accessory. I like how it's all individually jointed. And it works nice. I like that. I definitely want to make sure that was integrated into the custom model because his action figure had that. And then also his heat saber. I just did a simple dry brush of sand to the hilt there. not too much going on. I just want to make it look a little dirty, and I think I did the job good. And I didn't do anything to the blade, because it's, you know, it's already clear plastic. I don't need to. So yeah, I think that's a nice little thing. And if he wants kind of that more weathered side on one side or the other, he can do that. But there is that little loop. And then he has his shield, which is definitely the first accessory where I really need to talk. And I'm going to start talking about the method of how I made this guy. So this will be Gunpla Blasphemy. But because I knew he would be covered in a lot of acrylic weathering, and I don't have an airbrush. I really want to invest in an airbrush, but I knew for this particular kit, with how weathered and worn and damaged he will be and covered in acrylics, I spray painted him. I just spray painted him with, I think it was like either Rust-Oleum or Krylon spray paint. And it came out very nice and flat, very nice and clean, and I don't really have any issues with my usage of it for this custom Gunpla. As you can see, it looks nice and clean, man. On some of the parts that aren't really covered in acrylics, you can see it looks good. And I like it. On the back here, I just dry brushed that to look sandy and dirty. But one thing you'll definitely notice, there's a lot of physical battle damage here. So say, like, ooh, right there. Is that a little bit of blue? Or maybe, what is that? Am I seeing a little bit of blue? Or is it like just the lights messing with me on the inside? It's just the gray. Okay, crisis averted. I'm like, am I looking at blue? But yeah, you can see there's all these little bullet holes. There's this big old scrape right here. I actually did singe a little bit of them. That's like a singe right there. I wanted a little bit of a singe, another bullet hole. On the bottom here, I just kind of chewed that out with the snippers. I have some mud paint that kind of gives it some texture on the bottoms and some of the edges here. It looks pretty nice. I'm not the biggest fan of how this came out. It was actually one of the first elements I did on this guy. And I kind of improved as I went along. Like I said, this is pretty much my first custom Gunpla, so it's not going to be the best. This was a labor of love. It's not like I'm trying to win any contests or anything. I made my brother's childhood Gundam toy as a model kit for him. So let's talk about the kit itself, because I'm number one, I'm impressed with the base model. That's why I wanted to use this kit, because I love the Zaku 2.0 kit, I love the inner frame and the articulation, and I figured it would lend itself well to not only make a nice custom Gunpla, but also to, let's get that heat rod out of there. There we go. But I also figured it would lend itself well to just making a nice, fun, articulated action figure for my brother, because he likes posing things. He doesn't like, you know, oh, it looks nice, I'm just going to sit it there. Hopefully this thing will hold up to his posing and to his, you know, he's not going to play with it, but it'll hold up, hopefully. So let's start from the top down. So as you can see, I wanted to add that little bit of red, that red triangle there. It's just a sticker, you can kind of see the outline. I wanted to add that for the, because his action figure had a little red triangle there. And there's a 1004 right there on the head, because he's Jcc2224, so I wanted to add a little bit of a nod to that. And then also his birthday's in May 5, so I have a little 5 scratched off there. So this GOUF has taken down at least 5 mobile suits. And you may be wondering, why does the visor look so, like, dirty? Well, the thing is, I debated, should I cover the visor when I clear coat it, or should I make it look really dirty and grimy? And let me just get these front lights off, because it's hard to see the eye with, it's kind of hard to see it. You can see it with the naked eye, that's the thing. But with all these lights, it's kind of hard to see the eye underneath. But I decided to not cover it up when I did the first coat of clear coat, but the second coat I actually wiped it away. So it looks really kind of muddy and unclean, and I really wanted it to look that way, and I think it turned out really good. So the eye in there, I don't even know if you'll be able to see, is kind of like purple. I did paint that. And then he has a crack right there on the glass. He has some silver along the edges. Some of it's actually to cover up some exposing blue on some edges. Some of it is just, like you can see, I did a little bit of chips away on the ridge there. And on the crest here, there's actually a bit of a scrape going in the middle of it. The hoses are pretty nice looking in my opinion. The back there, you can see it's nice and weathered. You can see where I want to have some dirt kind of going in the recesses. So there's some dirt going along his neck. Overall, I think the head looks really good. The chest I have a Xeon symbol just like his action figure. I have a little Principality Xeon thing right there. He's got some bullet holes right there, and then here's the cockpit. If you open this up, you can actually see I did a little bit of gold and bronze work in there. I wanted it to look unclean, and I think that looks good. And I don't even know if you'll be able to see him. But inside, can I get a look? Can we get a look? Can we even see him? I did paint the pilot. I painted him purple and green, my brother's two favorite colors. And the pilot, my brother, when we were playing with the toys, we didn't know this was a GOUF, so he came up with the name Zork, which is based off of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. And I kind of made a character for the pilot. His full name is Zork Brannenfilks, which is, I think it means brown fox in German, Zork Brannenfilks. Or it might mean, I don't remember what it means, and I'm the one that came up with it. Oh my gosh. So I think that's kind of a cool name. You can see even on the cockpit, there's a bit of a, let's zoom in again. There's a crack in the cockpit. There's some dry brushing, just kind of looking on some edges for dirt and sand. The tubes on the side. I actually didn't have separate pieces for the tubes. Like I said, a little bit of blue right there. That might be. I don't know. Is that a little bit of blue? I don't know. It could just be gray right there. It's hard for me to tell sometimes, especially under all these lights. But if there's a little bit of blue here and there, it's no biggie. My brother can just take a silver Sharpie and cover it up. Like what I did with some of the stuff. I had to cover some of it up with a silver Sharpie. Like there is some blue getting exposed. But I love, like, look at the dirt there. I actually did buy a special kind of light sand brown paint. That's actually, it has like sand texture and stays on really good. Like you can see the hands all sandy. I think that turned out real good. So just going down the crotch real quick. You can see I want to make sure that was nice and sandy. One funny thing though, when I was spray painting him, I forgot to take off this crotch piece. I forgot to take that off. So it's stuck there. I couldn't get it off. So I just had to paint it with acrylics. And I think that turned out good. The horns on the shoulder pads look real nice. I tried to make sure the tips wouldn't get worn off, but they might over time. That tip's cracked right there, some bullet holes right there. I want to make sure the edges look nice. I actually did do some sandpaper scratching on a lot of it. So if you see something like, oh, is that a fingerprint? And it's actually like a little bit of a sandpaper scratch. So I think those look good. And I got to talk about my absolute... Oh, he just completely fell out of frame. I got to talk about my absolute favorite detail is the gashed shoulder. So what I did here, of course, I gashed out a bit of the plastic, and I painted the frame silver, and I actually added some wires. I actually took some wires and just kind of glued them in right there so you can see some exposed wiring. That's my absolute favorite detail on this guy. I love that. Then down the arms, I actually did a little bit of silver and bronze on the joints there, just to kind of give it a little bit of definition. And then you can see, like right there, the spray paint turned out real good. It just adds so much texture. And there is one part of the spray paint where I want to talk about where it actually goofed up a bit. No pun intended, but I actually liked how it turned out. The hands, I sanded down the joints, so they're a little loose, but it was able to be easily painted and everything. I like how that hand turned out. The thighs are a little dirtier than I wanted. You can see another gash in that thigh right there. And down this arm, there's a gash right there. Here, let's get that squeezed in a little bit more. Yeah, there's a gash and some exposed pieces. I think this is pretty good for my first custom Gunpla, honestly. It's not going to win any prizes. I ain't going to submit this to the Gunpla Builders World Cup. I know what I've made here. It's not the best thing in the world. Like you can see right there, the silver splotches. A little iffy, but not too bad. Then right there, that's actually where I singed it a bit, and I wanted it to look silver like the metal had started wearing, and there's some darker around it to look a little more scorched. Like this knee pad, there's a nice big gash. I love this gash on the leg here. I love that. The backstory of this is that it was in a battle with the RX-78-2 Gundam, and barely made it out alive. And then during the era of Stardust memory, Anna Velgato returned to this mobile suit to Zork Brannenfilks and was able to, at least internally repair it. But he's like, you know what, man? I couldn't really get the outside looking good. I mean, we're just the Xeon remnants, so don't worry about it. The bottom of the feet, I wanted to make sure were nice and worn. So yeah, I think paint job wise, I did pretty good. It's not perfect, like I said. There's a scratch on the back as well. Like I've said multiple times, it's not perfect, but that's okay. Like one thing, the very first piece I spray painted was this front leg cover. And as you can see, the paint turned out really kind of bumpy and rough. And I was like, you know what, that's perfectly fine, because with the textures of this guy, you're not going to notice, and it actually kind of works. Like a lot of the other pieces, I ended up making bumpy and rough. So with all that, let's talk about articulation real quick. You know the base kit. He has a ball joint at the head. He has a swivel at the head, as well as the mono eye moving on the inside. A little bit of a waist joint, you're not going to get too much. The shoulder pads are on ball joints. You can get the shoulder moving up. Oh, that finger's kind of loose. I probably turned it in a weird way. There we go, it's not as loose now. You do have a butterfly forward. Pretty good articulation on the arms. I think it works good. All the fingers are individually jointed. And I wanted to make sure I split the fingers on this hand, because I know my brother, he was like, he would probably want the fingers split. So I'm like, you know what? I normally don't like splitting the fingers, but I did it on this because I knew my brother would want it. The skirts move nice. You know, they can kind of move out of the way for the legs to get some little motion there. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which bends pretty far. And I wanted to make sure the joints were a little weathered too. I didn't spray paint the gray bits. Then the feet can move forward, they can move down. You have a toe joint, and you can get some rocker out of them. So overall, the articulation on the kit's really good. And overall, this is the standard base master grade GOUF is a really good model. And I think my custom battle scarred desert GOUF is also very nice. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's not supposed to be, man. This is a gift for my brother. After this, like I said, after this video, it's going to go in a box. It's going to be wrapped in birthday paper. I'm going to give it to him, and it's going to be his birthday gift. I actually finished this a little bit ago. Maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago is when I finished this. And like I said, it's not perfect. I didn't use any water slides. I just used standard stickers. I used spray paint instead of, acrylic airbrush. Some methods may not be the best. It's not perfect, but I think it looks good for what it is. I think it's nice, and I really like it. Let's do a comparison with this and the pretty much straight built master grade Char. So you can definitely see a difference in the paint and the look and the overall quality. They're pretty much the same on par when it comes to build and quality and complexity, which I like. I might actually end up getting a master grade GOUF just for my collection someday and straight building it. I don't know though, because I also really like the HGUC Revive GOUF for my collection. And like I said, I'm more of a 1144 guy. So yeah, there we go. That's pretty much my look at my custom desert GOUF. My battle scarred desert GOUF. I really like it. I'm happy with it. I really hope my brother likes it. I'm sure he will. I wanted to make sure I made it for him. Like there's some personal choices I might not have made, but I kind of wanted to think of what would he like with it. I want to make sure it'd be nice and posable. I want to make sure the paint would be durable. And so far so good. Ever since I top coated it, I haven't noticed any paint chipping or any paint scraping. But always look out for the edges. Always touch it flat. Don't make sure it's not, getting rubbed on anything. I feel like that's the case with any custom Gunpla. Pretty much with custom Gunpla, you build it, you get it in a pose gently, and it looks nice. It's not supposed to be you're not making a superposable action figure with a custom Gunpla. You're just making something that looks nice. And I'm happy with this. I'm really happy with this, and I hope my brother will be too. So there we go, guys. Here's my look at my custom battle-scarred desert GOUF. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social media links, PO box address, and if you're going to ask questions down in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and Sieg Zeon!